This week on Pitt Beyond the Script.
And so, again, I like the steps that we've taken, and hopefully we can make that big leap.
Another corner, and Pitt will get the header in the back of the net, make it 3 straight.
And pushing you to new experiences that you didn't even think were possible. And that's why you come to Pitt.
They played hard all day, and they're going to finish this season the right way.
All this and more on this edition of Pitt Beyond the Script.
It starts as a game, a gathering of friends. And slowly, as some begin to sit back, others stand out. The joy of playing turns to passion. And as the skills develop, so do the minds. And they begin to seek challenges, peers, and mentors to further their abilities and opportunities. The love and passion becomes a thirst for people in a place
we're going to show everybody else in the country who we are.
That will embrace and push a hunger for excellence.
Clinch the ACC.
And to be in and among champions. These are the dreamers, scholars, leaders. These are the guides, teachers, mentors. And this is the opportunity, the challenge, the place. This is Pitt Beyond the Script.
We are the underdogs. We're going to be picked somewhere 12th or 13th in this league. And it's up to us to change that. Nobody else is going to do it. We have to change it. And we change it with our discipline, with our action, and how we show up every day to work.
Hello and welcome to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside head men's basketball coach Jeff Capel, and I'm Casey Guerrero of Pitt Studios. Coach, it has certainly been one of the most unique off seasons. We just talked about that before this interview. How has the team been adjusting? How have your coaches been adjusting to this time?
You know, it's a really, really difficult time. And one of the things about being a good player and trying to be a good coach is you have to be able to adjust and adjust on the fly. Now, what we're dealing with is something that no student athlete, coach, no one has ever dealt with as you deal with a global pandemic. Right now, all the things with social justice, an election coming up unlike anything we've ever seen. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. Our guys are doing well. You know, they're pushing through. We're trying to push through. We're trying to create a space, an environment for a few hours each day where you can kind of escape, where it's fun. It's somewhat normal, as normal as it can be. It still is not normal coaching in a mask and trying to communicate in a mask.
Some of you are coaching in gloves too.
Gloves,
all of it.
Yes. No, it's very, very different. We respect, you know, the virus. We are trying to do everything we can to adhere to what the doctors and the scientists and the CDC and trying to create a safe environment for not only us and our student athletes, but for all the student athletes and people that work here at Pitt and our community. And so, but it's a very interesting time. But I've been really proud of our guys for how we've persevered and how we've pushed through and how we've tried to adjust.
You mentioned the 3 challenges: the election, social injustice, COVID-19, not in any particular order, but you've been very vocal about it, which a lot of people admire, myself included. Is that kind of the culture you're trying to develop on your team as well?
Yeah, you know, one of the things I've shared with each player that I've coached once I got into this profession is you should never identify yourself as just a basketball player. I did that when I was their age, and everything in my life revolved around how did I play. That's how I judged myself as a person. As I got older and became a little bit more mature and started to understand things, I realized that I'm way more than that, than just a basketball player. And so since I got into coaching, when I was 27 years old and I became the head coach at VCU, I talked to our guys about these things. I talked to them about the importance of voting, the power of voting. I talked to them about, you know, people died. People fought for you to have the right to do that. Unfortunately, I've had to talk to my teams about social injustice from way back then. This is something that, as a black person in this country, this is not new. It's just more visible now. You can't hide behind it now. But I have always been vocal since, I started to feel better about me and understand my voice and understand my platform, and mainly, Casey, to understand the responsibility I have as a black man in this country.
Will and Nike, you should be talking to these. You guys should be talking to X right here.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. I know
you.
the Pitt staff does. The fans certainly do. Shifting gears, I know it's hard to, okay, let's talk basketball now, but third year now you're entering. Is it hard to keep developing this culture, especially in the circumstances, or when you guys are at practice, you're able to keep pushing that agenda forward?
Yeah, as you try to continue to develop and create the culture that we want, the thing that was hard was the summer. The summer is a big part of kind of creating that and establishing that, because normally we'll have some guys stay here for the first session of summer school. And then once we get to session 2, we have our whole team. And that's where your team building starts. That's where all those things start to happen. Your guys start to get in shape, you're lifting, your freshmen, your older guys, which we have some older guys now that have been with us for a couple of years. They're kind of trying to create the culture, to teach the culture. Obviously, the summer was taken. We spent weekly meetings on Zoom, but I think we've made some major strides. This is the first year we have 13 full scholarship players, which is the max we can have. So we have some depth. We've added some size. I think we've added talent. We have some returning guys back. So we're excited. Now it's trying to figure out how to mesh it all together in the midst of chaos.
Ready?
Stay tuned. More coming up with Coach Capel after this.
I registered to vote because it is my right in the United States to have my voice be heard.
I registered to vote because it's a starting point for making a difference within my community and on a larger scale.
I registered to vote because I feel like I have an obligation, due to all the pain and struggle that my ancestors went through, just to be able to have the right to vote in this country.
I registered to vote after educating myself on the importance of voting and made sure to get involved immediately.
I registered to vote because every vote counts, and it's important that my team is active in our local government.
My teammates and I are all registered to vote. The women before us have fought hard for this right, and we understand the importance of voting today.
I vote because it's important to me, it's important to my family, and as an American citizen, I feel I have the opportunity that many others around the world don't have.
Voting matters to me because so many people have fought for this right, and as a result, we should all vote to have an impact in our government and our everyday lives.
Voting matters to me because I'm very passionate about using my platform to encourage my friends and family to get involved and to spread awareness about the social justice issues in our country that are more prevalent now than ever.
Voting isn't just important in this day and age, but it is very necessary, and I believe that it is your obligation to get out to the voter booths and choose the right candidate for this upcoming election.
When we choose to vote, we are saying that this is the person we want to represent us. And as Americans, we have the privilege to vote, which gives us the opportunity to choose somebody who is going to represent everybody.
I believe that voting is important. I believe that leadership is important. I believe that my vote can help put somebody in charge who empowers the voices of many who have been silenced for way too long.
I registered to vote. Did you?
Did you?
Did you?
Did you?
We gotta be smart. We have to have poise. What? 1, 2, 3,
Don't want you just doing this. You gotta be strong. You gotta be strong. You gotta use your pivot. Ready?
I want to talk about that, not only the veteran leadership coming back, the depth, and of course the freshman class here, but first you have returners like Xavier Johnson, Justin Champagny, who feels like a veteran, only he's a sophomore. Yeah. You have Adis Toney, and of course Terrell Brown, and you get Ithiel Horton back this year. What do you expect from this group and their leadership?
Really what I want and expect from them, those guys know us as a staff and they know what we want. And so one of the main things is for them to show up every day ready to go, ready to work, and ready to enforce the culture that we've tried to establish. Those guys being good players, but mainly being good leaders, being great teammates, teaching the importance, the value of that. I'm a big believer that you can learn through every situation. And certainly you can learn through success, which we've had a little bit at times. We've had a glimmer, but obviously you learn through failure. Last year, I've said this over and over, I thought we had a chance. I thought we took a step forward last year. We had an opportunity to take a leap, but we were not ready for that. We didn't show and have the discipline that's necessary to do that at the level that it takes to become a team that's a postseason team. Hopefully we learn from that experience. It's something we talked about from the spring up until this point. And I expect our older guys to kind of be the catalyst for teaching that.
Coach, you talked about the veteran players. Let's talk about some of the younger players. You have some depth, you have some size now. You have Max, you have John, you have plenty of players coming in this year that can help in the post and open up this offense.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've thought a lot about like our first year here and, the game where we beat Louisville here. And as we got into overtime of that game, both of our bigs had fouled out. And so we're playing Malik Ellison at the 5, who's shorter than me. And he did an outstanding job. Last year, we really just had 2 big guys with Terrell and Eric Hamilton. And then Kareem came on, so you had 3. Now, we really focused with this recruiting class on size. And out of the 5 freshmen, 4 of them are 6'7" and taller. And so we've been able to add size, length, athleticism, and I think talent. And so that gives us more depth with Kareem, with Terrell coming back. And so we're able to have different options. One of the things for me as a coach, you're able to create competition in practice. Really, when we're whole, if we can get completely healthy, we really, I think, kind of have 2 guys at each spot, and so you can create that competition in practice where you're helping each other get better, and mainly we're helping our team get better.
I want to focus on this freshman class a little bit more. I got to see them on their intro video shoot and media day. They're a ton of fun. They've already seemed to gel so well together. And like you said, it was mostly Zoom, texting. They haven't been together that much. Practice just started last week. What's special about this group? What can fans expect?
Yeah, it's the times are so different now because even though, they weren't here until late June, early July, all these kids know each other in high school from AAU and, texting and FaceTime and all the different ways now you have. And so that relationship started before they even got here with those 5 guys. They're a very confident group.
Look at the camera, man. It's me, John Hughley, with the Fab 5, man. It's the real Fab 5, man. This is the real Fab 5.
They're talented. And I think they have a chance to provide some versatility that we have not been able to have since we've been here.
Yeah, freshman John Hughley mentioned, I want to put this team back on the map. I want Pitt to be where it was. As a coach, how excited are you to hear that? Before he even came to Pitt, this was him interview in high school.
Yeah, it's exciting because these are things that we talked to them about during the recruiting process. And so it makes you feel like, well, at least maybe they were listening. Maybe they heard us. That's been the thing for me and our staff since we've been here, is to try to get this thing flipped back at one point. And we talked to all recruits about this. This program, especially from 2002 till about 2016, it was one of the best programs in the country. It was one of the most consistent programs in the country. Year in and year out, they were a contender nationally. They were usually in the top 10 at some point during each season. One of the better teams in the Big East. And then you just went through this transition period, from 2016 until I got here, where there were 2 coaches, there were, I think, 3 ADs, and there just wasn't any consistency. And as we know as adults, if you don't take care of something and you're not completely all in and invested, even something that's really, really good and great can fall apart. And that's what happened. And so it's our responsibility, it's our challenge is to put it back together. And I knew when I took the job it was going to take time. I knew that was going to be very difficult for me because I'm not a patient person. And so again, I like the steps that we've taken. Like you mentioned, we have a chance to learn from last year, and hopefully we're able to get through a whole season, and hopefully we can make that big leap.
Well, thank you, Coach. We're looking forward to November 25th. It certainly can't come soon enough.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this segment. We have more to come on Pitt Beyond the Script.
It's game time, baby. You already know.
Shotgun snap. Delayed blitz. Throwing the pass down the near sideline is Yellen. What a catch by Shockey Jock Louis.
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside Pat Bostic. I'm Rob King of AT&T Sportsnet. Pat, let's take a quick look back at the Notre Dame game. We saw the final score, but it's hard for me to fathom that that was a score when it was a 14-3 game. You have the ball with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. You're thinking, hey, if they can get a score here in what's been a close game, you get the ball to begin the second half, and then all of a sudden, you know, the pick and the block punt, and it's just was over very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the defense played solid early. A couple big plays, again, a couple big passes that have really been their undoing in the past 4 losses. But the air kind of came out of the balloon really quickly with the pick, and then obviously the block punt. And it was downhill from there. They never responded in the second half. The score was such that you're playing the second half to win the second half and see if you get close to make a comeback. But it was a tough one. I mean, they did not play well offensively. Again, couldn't run the ball, became one-dimensional, and obviously the quarterback struggled. They struggled to find open receivers and obviously threw it to the other team too many times.
The defense gets worn down in a game like that, but what did you think of the matchup of Notre Dame's offensive line and Pitt's defensive line? Because that was a big matchup we were looking at going into this game.
They lead at 7-3. Again, and there's nowhere for Kyron Williams to run because Rashard Weaver is waiting for him in the backfield for a loss.
Well, I think they failed in one area, that was getting Ian Book down. He was able to scramble and make plays, and that's a credit to him. I thought he played his best game and showed some elusiveness, made some plays outside the pocket that are worthy of quarterbacking the number 3 team in the country. But in terms of the rush attack, I mean, they held Williams to 2.8 yards per carry or something like that. Really rendered their run game pretty much ineffective. So I give the front 7 for Pitt a lot of credit. I thought Patrick Jones and Rashad Weaver played well, and I really thought Servassier Dennis played well again. I think, if you look back at that game, what showed me a lot was in the end of the game, Notre Dame's got their 2s in. Jones and Weaver are still in the football game. Those guys want to play. They played hard all day, and they're going to finish this season the right way.
There's always talk about a bye and whether it comes at the right time of the season. The Panthers enter their bye week. It would seem like this comes at the right time of the season for Pitt.
Yeah, for a couple reasons. I mean, they've played 7 straight games, which is as much as anybody without an open week. Obviously, this has been an atypical year. A lot of energy is spent throughout the week on non-football things to try to stay safe. So these players need some time off. These coaches need a chance to sit back and obviously look at what's going on because you're on a 4-game losing streak. And the time is now to look into the mirror and evaluate what has contributed to that 4-game losing streak. And it's more than just one thing. And you want to come back, recalibrate, get those guys in the room, and treat this last 4-game stretch as a 4-game season.
Show up every day, man. Let's go. I'll show up every day. Let's go. Bright and early. Show up every day, bright and early.
A pandemic colors everything, obviously, but what does a normal bye week look like for the players? Are they trying to get healthy? Are they trying to clear their mind? Are they already looking forward to Florida State? Take us through that from the player side and also from the coach's side.
Well, I think it's health first. I mean, you want to get your bodies right. I mean, these guys are banged up. They're a lot of them are nursing injuries that happen all year. They happen every year. So you get healthy, get off your feet, rest, try to recuperate a little bit. And academics, obviously, when you're going through the rigors of a season, you're fighting, scratching, and calling to stay above water academically. So you're ready to go at the end of the semester for finals and midterms and things that like. Now is a good chance to catch up on those things, get in the academic room and get yourself in a position to finish the semester strong. And then watch the tape from the first 7 games. There'll be cut-ups, there'll be things in the aggregate to look at, good, bad, ugly, and evaluate where you're at as a football team. And that's what the coaches will be doing. The coaches will be looking in the mirror for these next probably 3-4 days. And then you'll turn to Florida State later in the week, and then obviously over the weekend and into the game week. But really the last thing you want to do is get to the next opponent too fast, because you can overload your guys. You can overload with too much information. Most important thing to do during the bye week is to look inside.
And we'll be looking forward to Florida State coming up in next week's show. But one final thing on that. What are the biggest topics? And look, they're hoping obviously Kenny Pickett's going to be back. That'll solve a lot of things you would think on the offensive side. There's been some pre-snap penalties. There's been some mistakes on special teams. There's been some big plays allowed on defense. Otherwise, the defense has been very good. How do you pinpoint these certain things, and what do you think are the biggest thing the Panthers need to improve on for this new 4-game season?
I think it's the simple stuff. I think it's back to basics. I mean, find run plays that are efficient in the run game. I mean, they ran draw well against Notre Dame. They throw the ball a lot, so a draw play would seem to be a positive play for them. Maybe incorporate that more. Obviously, simplify the operation to avoid the pre-snap penalties. I think defensively, it's limiting the big plays, and that comes back to fundamentals and technique. It comes back to playing your position the right way. Every time you look at a big play, you're going to find one or two guys that maybe aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's back to fundamentals and basics. Sometimes the bye week feels like spring ball, because it's just fundamentals. It's back to us, look inward, and let's play these last 4 games. Regardless of the outcome, let's play these last 4 games the way we know how to play, and that is disciplined and fundamental. And if you do that, you're going to have a chance to win these games. And obviously, you'll have a crack at the best team in the country at the end of the year.
Pat, thanks very much. We'll be looking forward to Florida State coming up in our next program. Stick around. We're going to profile and sit down with head coach Lance White of the women's basketball team when Pitt Beyond the Script resumes after this.
I registered to vote because it is my right in the United States to have my voice be heard.
I registered to vote because it's a starting point for making a difference within my community and on a larger scale.
I registered to vote because I feel like I have an obligation due to all the pain and struggle that my ancestors went through just to be able to have the right to vote in this country.
I registered to vote after educating myself on the importance of voting and made sure to get involved immediately.
I registered to vote because every vote counts, and it's important that my team is active in our local government.
My teammates and I are all registered to vote. The women before us have fought hard for this right, and we understand the importance of voting today.
I vote because it's important to me, it's important to my family, and as an American citizen, I feel I have the opportunity that many others around the world don't have.
Voting matters to me because so many people have fought for this right, and as a result, we should all vote to have an impact in our government and our everyday lives.
Voting matters to me because I'm very passionate about using my platform to encourage my friends and family to get involved and to spread awareness about the social justice issues in our country that are more prevalent now than ever.
Voting isn't just important in this day and age, but it is very necessary, and I believe that is your obligation to get out to the voter booths and choose the right candidate for this upcoming election.
When we choose to vote, we are saying that this is the person we want to represent us. And as Americans, we have the privilege to vote, which gives us the opportunity to choose somebody who is going to represent everybody.
I believe that voting is important. I believe that leadership is important. I believe that my vote can help put somebody in charge who empowers the voices of many who have been silenced for way too long.
I registered to vote. Did you?
Did you?
Did you?
Did you?
I've always heard that basketball is the most creative sport that there is, where players really have the ability to make anything happen, and so I love that aspect of it. But also I love the strategy. I love the competition of trying to figure out the best way to beat someone. And so I love that part of coaching still today. It's just that competition every day of trying to find the magic formula to get a group of people to do great things together. I really think the ACC network has added a huge component to our program of being able to be seen and our players getting on television every game that they play so that they can be seen from coast to coast is just crazy. And I think for our players that exposure is crucial, because if you're at the top of this conference, you're the top of the nation. And I love being a part of a conference that values that, and the ACC network has added a huge component to our program. I've always believed that basketball is a chance for us to really dive into that we're a lot more similar than we are different. And on the basketball court, that's so true. But that's what I love. I love taking all these personalities and you put all of those together and you form a team. And that's what I love about what I get to do every day with the team I have. This passionate and brilliant group of young women that we are going to change the world.
A cutting Dejanette Harris with the steal and the putback.
I always think is why you come to Pitt is to merge the academic and basketball piece and do that in a spot where you are valued as a young woman. For me, it's everything that we do is about relationships. It's about meeting you where you are and challenging you and pushing you to new experiences that you didn't even think were possible. And that's why you come to Pitt. You come to Pitt for that relationship in this great environment, in this great academic institution, that you can not only just be in the world, but change the world.
Here comes Dexter again up top. It's a 2-on-1 for Pittsburgh. Dexter fires and scores again.
Bailey fighting for it, able to win it from Quinton, sends it into the box, over to Jackson, who scores!
A couple of game-winning goals and 5 assists with 9 points already to his credit. And tested again here is Shuttler, and it'll be off the initial touch.
Now Louisville have to be careful here. Big run in the box. Valentin Noel heading it into the back of the net.
On the right side, crosses it in, and there's Dexter for the goal.
Another corner, and Pitt will get the header in the back of the net, make it 3 straight.
Petkovic in the box has a go, and just like that, in the 3rd minute of our action tonight, Veljko Petkovic puts the Panthers on the board early.
We would like to congratulate Coach Jay Vidovich and the entire men's soccer team on becoming #1 in the nation for the first time in program history. Keep the historic season going. And thank you, fans, for watching this edition of Pitt Beyond the Script.
Cross sent in, perfect ball to Noel, and he slots it in the top corner. What a beautiful sequence, David.
Absolutely, Jason, that was tremendous.